a FileMaker booking and reservation system. I've used the example of a hotel, which is something that everyone can imagine, but this kind of system can work for a lot of different kind of applications. Let's say a car rental, book lending, equipment rental, studio rental, or anything like that, where you have a certain item. And in this case I have a bunch of rooms. I have all kinds of different types of rooms, and the essence of the problem that we have is that they are going to be used by people from a certain start date and time until a certain end date and time. And so I have to know at any given point in time, I have to know if a client or a guest wants to stay in my hotel and wants to have a room. I need to know that this period that this person is going to be staying, which rooms that I have that are available within that period. Because I'm going to have a booking list with a whole bunch of rooms that are rented out to a whole bunch of people, and they're all going to be staying from a certain start date and time until an end date and time. And so I have to be able to figure out which is available between a certain date range. So that's going to be the essence of this system. But I've taken it a few steps further, and I've built like a fully functional system that could be used in any kind of hotel type situation. I'll give you an example. Let's say that from today until a few days from now, someone wants to stay in my hotel and they want to stay in a double room. They're in luck because I've got one of them available, and this person has actually already arrived, so I'm going to immediately check this person in. I get this choice of different types of prices. I could have a normal price, or I could have certain prices depending on the seasons, or I could maybe have discounts for large corporations that often show up, and then I can select a different kind of price. Now this person that has been determined by the dates that he's staying is staying for 4 nights, and he's got a double room, so that means 2 people are going to be showing up for breakfast. If this is not correct, then you can kind of make changes here, and that will change the price that this person will have to pay. Once you've determined the kind of price he wants, whether if he's staying for breakfast or not, then you can select the price he needs, and then we can enter either it's an existing person who has been here before, or maybe it's a new person. Let's say his name is Sponge and his name is Bob, and he wants to stay in my hotel. Now because I've just made a booking for him and I've checked him in, that means a couple of bill items have automatically been created. He's going to stay in a certain room for 4 nights that has a certain price, and he's also going to be taking breakfast. It's a double room, so 2 people are going to be having breakfast on these dates. The fact that I've already made these items automatically is really cool, because that allows me to do all kinds of funky things. Now, because we've been entering, we've been creating these breakfast lines separately per day, we can make a really handy breakfast list, which is kind of cool for us, but mostly handy for the people that are going to be making breakfast, because they can already see for every single day exactly how many people are going to be showing up for breakfast. And that's kind of good for them. They can kind of look ahead and see which are the heavy days and which are going to be the slower days. Now we can also use this as a checklist, because usually in a hotel when you go for breakfast they will ask you for your room number to kind of check that you actually had a breakfast, and then we can use this as a checklist to check people who are actually showing up. Now if for instance a person does not show up, we can remove their breakfast, and that also removes the breakfast from their list, which is kind of handy, because that way they don't have to pay for a breakfast that they don't have. If they decide to show up anyway, we can just choose the amount of people and then add a breakfast, and then they have been added and checked so that they have a breakfast that's now been added to their bill. Another handy little thing here is like a laundry section, so we can have a certain person in a certain room who wants us to do some laundry for them, and then we can just simply select the items that they want us to launder, and then that stuff will show up automatically on their bill. Pretty handy. We've got a bar, and our bar has a price list with all kinds of products that we can choose from in our bar. And when we go to our bar, then we've got a list here of people that are actually currently hanging around in my bar. and let's say that SpongeBob shows up in our bar, so we can add him. And the cool thing about this is that you can here make a list of all the people that are currently hanging out in your bar. You can select them, and then you can kind of select the drinks that they have had or ordered, and then you can just add them to the list, and they are different types here. So you can say he's got 2 vodkas and he's got a hot dog, and then those items are also automatically added to the list. So let's say that our SpongeBob has been hanging out in the bar for a bit. He's been having some laundry done maybe as well. Let's have a look here at SpongeBob. He's been doing some laundry, or we've been doing some laundry for him. And if we add all of this stuff and we go to our reservations here and look at our detail, then we can see for our friend SpongeBob, all of this stuff has already automatically been added to his bill. All of this stuff is really handy because then when we make the bill, we don't have to do any kind of manual work. All of this stuff is already in here. We can just simply email him or a PDF of that invoice, or we can print it for him and he can immediately pay it or pay it later. And this bill contains all of the details of all of the stuff that he's been consuming in our hotel. Alright, so that's a very quick little tour of what we've got.